Hey again, what's up, guys?
Hey
It's
guys.
me and Tina. We're out and about. We're actually gonna go visit one of our. Um, it's actually a friend now. It's not
Mhm.
actually even a patient, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But one of my good friends, Dr. Sam Sula. This is his patient, and his name is Mr. Robert. He's 102 years old. He's a World War II veteran, and we just got to know him, and he's amazing. So he's gonna share some stories with us, because I think a lot of times, that generation that has served our country so well, they have so many things to teach us young folk. And he was like, "Yeah, come by. Let's share some stories." So we're gonna have a good
Story
time.
time.
Story time, yep. And so yeah, it's gonna be pretty neat hanging out with Bob. So let's have a good time together. But no, Mr. Bob, we appreciate you, and thank you for your service. Above all, we work with veterans a lot, but it's a blessing to know that you laid down your life for the country, your country. And
Well, I didn't lay my life down.
yeah.
I was there, and I had a brother-in-law who did lay his life down, and but it no, we were back then when World War II started, and I just got out of high school, and decided when December 7th, I had a girlfriend, and we was at her house, and she had three sisters, so there were four guys there, and we all went down the next day to try to enlist in the service, and some of us got in, and I tried to join the Air Force, and my eyes weren't good enough, so they said, "We'll go home and eat carrots and come back in a month." Didn't work. And then I went to the Marine Corps, and I was missing some teeth, some molars, and they wouldn't take me. So I went to the Navy, and they said, "Well, okay, if you uh, get a temporary teeth there, we'll let you in the reserves." I said, "What are the reserves?" And they said, "Just for the war, World War II." And I said, "That's fine with me." So I went in the Navy in October of 1942 from Cleveland, Ohio. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and went to Great Lakes, and had boot camp at Great Lakes, and then was accepted in quartermaster school.
Oh wow.
And so I went to Newport, Rhode Island for quartermaster school, and got a third-class rating out of school, and was assigned to a ship, a destroyer escort,
Wow.
in Boston, Massachusetts. So we went aboard the ship. We had shakedown cruises off Cape Cod and Bermuda, and then we were assigned to the Pacific. We went through the canal and went out to the Pacific and stopped at some of the islands, and eventually went down to Guadalcanal. And it was after all the battles there, but there was still submarines and so forth.
Wow.
And our job was to escort ships and Guadalcanal had no ports or anything. Everything was unloaded onto the beaches. So our job was to patrol to keep submarines from attacking the ships as they were unloading. And so we were there for over about a year, traveled all through the islands and escorted different ships. And then we had one ship, an empty cargo ship that was torpedoed, but it was saved. It got back to port, and we dropped a lot of depth charges. I don't know if we ever hit anything.
Wow. But yeah.
So we did. We had a lot of depth charges, submarine attacks, looking for submarines. And then I was sent back to go to officers training school, and went to. Our ship came back to San Francisco. We'd escorted some ships back to San Francisco, And then I was transferred off to go to officer training school in Asbury Park, New Jersey. And I had no idea where Asbury Park was, but I've had to leave, went to Cleveland and finally went to New York and got a bus from New York down to Asbury Park, which is along the coast of New Jersey. And they had what they call a pre-midshipman school there for all the kids that were assigned going back to school. And they had 2 hotels. They had a fence around them, and we stayed at these hotels. And I met a fellow on the bus going down to there, and we became roommates at the hotel. And then that following weekend, they had a dance. They had in Asbury Park. They had a convention hall, and they had a dance, and they had invited like the young high school and young women to the dance to dance with all the service people. And so this friend of mine had bumped into this girl and asked her to dance, and so she said her parents had said to invite any young man home for dinner on Sunday if she would like to. So she invited him, and he invited me. I asked him if he could bring me.
Yeah.
And it turned out that the girl that he bumped into, then she got a date for me, and so we switced, and so then that became my wife.
Oh my gosh.
So
That's brilliant.
so it was a good meeting, but then because of my teeth, they said no, you can't be an officer. So
Oh wow.
so they.
Why is that? What is that? Why is that?
I don't know. One of the things before they sent me back to, I was assigned to the school. I had a physical on one of the islands, and they said they'd give you a waiver for that. But when I got back, it was in 1944 then, and the war was not. It was near the end of the war. So they were, I guess, eliminated a lot. I had one of the fellows that came back was a signalman, and he evidently was colorblind. So they said he couldn't.
That would be bad.
So they were getting a little restrictive. So
Gotcha.
they said, so they sent me to what they call an Acorn outfit. At the time was called Acorn, an acronym for something or other. There was a seaplane base, and we went to Long Island, New York, and then from Long Island, New York, to San Francisco, to California, Port Hueneme, and eventually we were shipped out to go to Okinawa, and so we were went aboard a troop ship, stopped at Hawaii, and then went on and went to Okinawa.
Wow.
And we were on Okinawa, and when they dropped the bomb in Japan, so
Wow.
so that was in August, July and August, and so then in December I had enough points to be sent home. So I left the island in Okinawa on Christmas Day of 1945.
Wow.
And got home and I was discharged in Toledo, Ohio.
Wow.
And
How far were you? So when the bomb dropped, you were
at Okinawa.
You were there.
Yeah, but not in Japan.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Wow.
But we were on Okinawa. So we were. I guess they were planning on the invasion of Japan, so we were close. So I'm sure if the bomb hadn't been dropped, and we didn't, Japan hadn't surrendered, the next thing would have been
the invasion.
going to Japan. So, and we had some interesting things there. We had typhoons. Our ship ran through a typhoon.
Wow.
That time, and that was quite interesting. and we had typhoons on Okinawa.
Wow.
Wiped out a lot of stuff there. And actually, my brother was on a ship also. His ship pulled in Okinawa. So I went over to see him. I was on a small picket boat, and they were going to go to Japan the next day. This was after the war. And they were going to go to Japan, so the group that I was with, they were supposed to come and pick me up. And they said, oh, they couldn't find, there were too many ships in the harbor, they couldn't. So I would have gone to Japan with my brother.
Wow.
But then the storm came through, so they had to delay a day.
Wow.
And so I was able to go back, got to get off by myself.
Wow.
And then I had another fellow who was aboard the USS California battleship, a fellow I was in high school with. And I met him. He managed to get him off the ship for a day.
Wow.
And so we had some good times. So there's it was a time, fortunate, wasn't injured or a ship wasn't sunk or anything.
Wow.
But that's what everybody did, whatever he had to do at the time.
So did you, at that time when you were there, did you communicate with did you get married by that time, or you dating?
We back and forth letters. Back then it was letters.
Letters, no
phones.
email.
So you sent letters. So we communicated back and forth. And
did you ever keep any of them?
I don't think so. I don't know whether my wife did.
Yeah.
Whether she did or not, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But so.
How long did it take when you wrote it? How long did it take, you think, for them?
I don't know. It took quite a while because they sent them to a fleet post office, and then from there they would send them over. So.
Gotcha.
So we would get them within a week or so, a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
The original long distance.
The long distance relationship.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Long distance relationship, right. So, yes, I got discharged in January in Toledo, Ohio. And I had no family. I had both my parents had passed away when I was young. So I had a stepfather, and but I had been living with my oldest brother. I had two older brothers, and so I thought, well, I didn't have anything in Ohio, and so I went to New Jersey, and we were going to go to school, and I was going to go back to Ohio to go to school, and my wife, had lost her brother right just in France, and so I thought, well, I better not take my girlfriend out and take her to Ohio. So I stayed in Ohio, in New Jersey. And went to night school, to Rutgers night school there for a while, and then we got married in June of that year.
Wow.
And had 3 boys, and had a long married life, 70-some years.
Wow.
So, and it was a great time.
Yeah.
We had everybody has troubles.
Yeah.
And when I was in my early 30s, I had tuberculosis, so I was in the hospital for a year, and had my lung collapse for 4 years. So. But we survived all that, had a good work for a newspaper, Asbury Park Press, for 40-some years, almost 50 years.
Wow.
And so we had a good life.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. When you guys got married, was there anything that you 77 years later, did you ever think like, wow, that's a long time?
Yeah. We got married in a small church in New Jersey, a small Methodist church, and we had the reception in the church basement.
Yeah.
And the ladies made the sandwiches and punch. And so that was our reception, and went to Massachusetts for our honeymoon.
Nice.
And so then, yeah, so we had a good life.
That's cool. Wow.
I had two older brothers, and the one brother was, the second brother was in the Navy during the same time, and so he lived to be 93. My older brother, oldest brother, only lived in his 60s.
Oh, wow.
And my sister, I had a sister, and she passed away at her 60s also.
Wow.
So, and I just wonder why I'm still around.
To tell the story. I know.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. When you mentioned when we talked last time, you said when you had tuberculosis, you started, I guess, doing some routines to take care of yourself. Was that right?
Well, you had to, yeah. When after being laid up for a year, you can't really do anything or in a hurry. So I started walking, and then I started to jog a little bit. When I started jogging, there was nobody else jogging. It was not popular at the time.
Wow.
So, but then I started, I'd start running between lampposts, and we lived in an area that had a lake about a mile around, and on the ocean. We lived 5 blocks from the ocean, so they had the boardwalk, and I could run on the boardwalk. So I did that and kept at it ever since.
Did you do it like first thing in the morning or like at the end?
Always in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm still a morning person, so I'd get up before work and to run about 2 miles and jog to the boardwalk and back around the lake and have some benches, workout benches in the basement, and he would work out a little bit before work. So then
get your day right, get your day going. Wow. And you've been doing that all the way since.
Yeah, I've been doing something. I jogged for years, and then I just started to walk, and so now I just do some light weights and treadmill and the rowing machine and stuff like that, just to keep active.
That's cool. That's cool. What do you have any advice for, I guess, married couples? I've been married now 11 years.
What's the secret?
So
You got to get along with each other.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Friends.
And you got to, support each other.
I'm 22.
Wow.
So you were born in this century.
Yeah.
I never thought I would live this century. My brother and I used to talk, and I said, well, we're never going to make the turn of the century.
Wow.
And now I'm thinking, here it is, 25, quarter of a century already.
That's amazing.
I watch the golf. I love to watch the golf.
Yeah. You played golf, didn't you?
Yeah, I played.
You and your wife? Did you play? Did
Yeah.
you play? I remember you said that.
Yeah, so I played golf up until COVID hit.
Wow.
So I was 97, I think, when I finally stopped playing. But anyhow,
Do they have a putting green or anything?
they have a little putting
It's
thing.
not
very
good.
Right down by the pool.
Wow. Are you not able to go and play golf anymore? Or no.
No, I haven't gone. When the COVID hit, I stopped playing, and then I would go out to hit balls once in a while.
Yeah.
And then I played with, my son came from, my one son is in Virginia, so likes to play golf. So he was here, we went out, and he took some movies of my swing. And
Oh, nice.
And I said, I'm not getting the club back. I said, but I still could hit it.
Yeah, you still hit it, yeah.
So, and I played. I've had 4 holes in one in my life, so.
Wow.
And so I love to play. But we lived in Florida.
Oh, perfect. That's
Near the TPC.
Okay.
And they had the tournament there this past weekend.
Yeah.
And I watched, and I knew all the holes. We used to marshal there.
Wow.
And do all the holes. But, it was good. Oh, the people, I said, they weren't even born when we were there.
The players.
We bought our house in 1986 there.
Wow.
And I retired in 89. And
these kids are born in 92, 93.
So I was working the golf tournament marshaling and so forth. And I thought, all these kids, I said, when we were there, they weren't even born yet. I'm thinking,
You were born what year? Yeah.
2002.
2002.
Wow.
My granddaughter here was, she just turned 23.
Wow.
And my grandson turned 26.
Wow.
So I said, yeah, so people born in this century.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Any advice? You think any advice for Miss Tina, who's a?
You know, things were so much different. You know, when I was born in the 20s, and I had two older brothers, a younger sister, and my father died in 1929.
Wow.
And I was 7. So my mother was raising 4 kids, and we were on welfare. And we worked, everybody worked. I sold newspapers and delivered newspapers and sold magazines and did everything. Everybody worked. So you became very independent. Even today, you know, it goes through. You know, I'm not where I need people that, if I want to run, I ran by myself.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to being on your own, doing your own thing, that, and you took care of yourself, you know. I got out of high school, I remember I was getting out of high school, and I thought I would get college catalogs. I said, I don't have any money to go to college. You couldn't think about going to college. And my older brother went right to work and was helping to support the family, and we all did. And so then you never thought about anything but you have to take care of the family.
Wow.
And then when I got out of the service, I worked for a short time for the state, and then I worked for a bank for a while before I went to work for the newspaper. But you know, salaries were low. You know, I remember the state auditor for the state of New Jersey was making $10,000 a year.
Wow.
And I thought, boy, if you ever made $10,000 a year, you'd be wealthy.
Wow. Yeah.
and you know, and things, you go to the store, you know, for $1 you could buy
everything,
groceries. And I worked in a grocery store, the MP in Cleveland, and they had, you know, no adding machines or anything. You had a paper bag, you put all the prices on the bag, then you had to add them, make sure that you were right. And so we had, you know, and you buy an automobile, you know, the car was, if you wanted a new car, it was like $800, and you didn't have $800.
Wow.
And you could buy a house for $5,000, but you didn't have $5,000.
Wow.
I mean, going to work, I was making $25 a week, and I thought, oh, that was good money.
Yeah.
Anybody that was making $25 or $30 a week
was good.
during a depression, that was a good salary.
Wow.
And then when we bought our first house, and we paid $14,000 for it.
Wow.
And had a mortgage, and a veterans mortgage.
Oh yeah.
And so you hope to pay that off. And but then now the prices have gotten so high, and I don't know, the salaries. I don't know how the kids. The town we lived in New Jersey, Spring Lake, was 1 mile long, 2 miles long on the board on the ocean, and 1 mile deep. And the house our house was just a 2-bedroom bungalow, 1 bath. We bought it, and I added. We fixed up the cellar with paneling and so forth for the kids. We added a bedroom, and then we finally added a family room and upstairs. And so I had a value of about $49,000 in it.
Wow.
And we sold it. Today I couldn't buy it back for $1.5 million. And this town, there was a town had a grammar school, but it didn't have a high school. Kids went to another town for high school. And there was another town alongside of it called Seagert, and that had didn't have a grammar school, they would send their students to Spring Lake. So then eventually they had enough there to build their own grammar school. But now the prices have gotten so high for the homes that young families can't afford to move in.
They can't, yeah.
And the school is going to close because they don't have enough young children. So it's times of really, you know, when you see these salaries now, the sports guys making $40 million a year, and you think, what is going on?
And in college too now. Now
Yeah.
they're paying the athletes.
I know, paying the athletes. I think, boy. So
And it's like it's wild.
yeah. I remember working when I was in high school, I worked for the AMP, and I'd go there on a Wednesday morning before school and stock the shelves. And then I worked all day Saturday, from morning until 10 o'clock at night, for $5, you know. I think, boy, and that was good money, you thought. And when I was in high school in Cleveland, I used to take the streetcar when I was in high school to go to school, and you could get a monthly pass for 50 cents.
Wow.
And you could ride the whole streetcars for the whole month. Wow. And you know, things that, you know, you can't imagine what it was like for the dollar amount back then as to what it is today. So,
wow. It's like a different world, you know. Wow.
So, well, I hope the kids make it today. Trying to find even homes, like I suppose even around here.
Yeah.
You have to keep moving further out.
They have to keep moving further
Yeah.
out, yeah, because they're getting so expensive.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
But I think the common thread that I've seen that you've mentioned is just the work ethic.
yeah.
You know, it's just like discipline, structure.
Mm.
You know, just take care of yourself.
Right.
You know, I think a lot of times, you know, it's all about, you know, do what you can, discipline, take care of yourself. You know,
And
live
everything
below your means.
Everything in moderation. That's
Yeah.
what I've said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Man. All right, you got that, Tina?
A lot to look forward to.
That's awesome. That is great. You have any questions?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to phrase them after I ask.
Oh, okay.
So you've seen 10 decades.
Wow.
What decade was your favorite?
Wow, you've seen 10
well,
decades. Wow.
it depends on. I had the worst, and then the. You know, after the war, up until the war, we were young, and even though they didn't have anything, you know, you got along. And then after the war, you got married, and you had all the young people coming back from the service, and you had a lot of friends. You did things with them, and then in my case, I got tuberculosis when I was in my early 30s, so that was a disaster, you know.
Oh, man, yeah.
And so that messed us up. But I stayed with the newspaper, and they were very good to me, and then I had a good career with them.
Yeah.
And then I guess when I retired, that was good. My wife we had a bad. The 60s were the worst.
Oh, wow.
The Vietnam War was just, you know, everybody, you felt sorry for the people who had to go, and then the people that were home, a lot of them didn't, you know, call them all kinds of names and stuff. So and the riots, the people didn't want to go. We should never have gone. But fortunately, I had the two older boys. Their draft numbers were high.
Oh, wow.
And my wife didn't want them to go because she had lost her brother in World War II, so she didn't want them to go to the service. And fortunately, their draft numbers were high, so they didn't have to go.
Wow.
But we had the 60s. My wife had a serious operation. Her father dropped dead in the doctor's office.
Wow.
And then my son flunked out of college in his freshman year. So
That was rough.
that was a rough.
Sixties
that
were
was
a
a rough
no-go.
time. But my son went to Susquehanna University as a freshman and had a good time,
Wow.
but flunked out. And he came home, and that's the year my wife had the operation. Their father died. And he said, Denny, go back to school and see what your counselor says.
Yeah.
So they got him. He went back and they called around. They got a school in Ohio, Defiance, Ohio. And he flew out to Ohio and finished up there, did well, got his master's degree.
Oh, wow.
Worked for the government for years and did very well.
Wow.
So, and he has 3 boys that are all doing well.
Wow.
So, yeah, so the kids they all turned out very well.
That's good.
So they turned out nice.
Almost didn't start
nice
off well.
people, yeah. But that one period there was not a good period.
Man.
But my wife and I were very compatible. We got along together. We traveled together. We did everything together.
Where'd you guys go traveling wise? Did you guys?
Do you have a favorite?
We used to do. First of all, we used to go back. We used to go back to visit family in Ohio.
Oh, nice.
I had my brother and his family, and 2 brothers, and then my sisters. So they still lived in Ohio.
Oh, wow.
And then my brother moved to Atlanta, and so we used to go to visit him in Atlanta.
Nice.
And then we started traveling with friends. We had a couple that we used to travel. We went to England,
Oh, wow.
and we loved it over there. And then we went to Scotland with them,
Wow.
and then we went to France with them.
Wow.
So then my wife and I went one year. We went to England and then and Ireland
Nice.
and Scotland, and was able to play golf at St. Andrews.
Oh.
So that was good.
Ooh.
And
That's it's a beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
so we loved St. Andrews. We loved Scotland, and we went to France. And this other couple, his family was part of it was from France.
Okay.
So he rented a place there, and so we spent a few days with him. Went to Paris,
Wow.
and we went to Italy with some friends, and but I think
Was this in your probably 40s, 50s, or
70s.
70s? Oh,
We were in London at Queen's 25th anniversary,
Wow.
and their carriage went right by where we were standing.
Wow.
And so we loved Scotland, and as I say, playing golf there was nice.
Wow.
And Ireland, my father's family came from Ireland,
Okay.
so my one son has looked up my family history and found where my grandfather and my grandmother were married, and the church that they were married in Scotland, in Ireland. But I never knew them. With my father's parents, I never knew them. And as I say, he died very young, and my brother died at 49.
Oh, wow.
So we were kids on our own.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
but so I don't know. You think back, different periods were highlights, and some were lowlights.
A mix, yeah.
But you had, that's what life is.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
one do you think was the best? Are you a music person?
Pardon?
Are you a music person?
I love the old music. I love the big bands.
Yeah.
We used to dance to, Glenn Miller was our favorite. And have you ever heard Glenn Miller? Probably not. But he had a great band back in the 30s, and he was killed in World War II. He had a band, and he was killed in World War II. And we used to go to an amusement park in Cleveland, and they had a band, big dance band area, and they bring big bands in, and for 5 cents, for a ticket for 5 cents, you could dance for one set, then they'd clear the dance floor, and then you'd go back on for another nickel, another ticket, and have another dance. So those dances, they were, not the dances you do today.
Yeah.
But these were with the big bands, so they were good. So I like that music, and I still love to listen to that. And I like classical stuff. I listen to the classic station every morning and have that on a lot. And we used to go to one of the theaters here has an opera.
Oh, wow.
From New York every once in a while. And so they were live from the Met in New York. Destroyer Escort left. And it's in Albany, New York.
Oh, wow.
And
That's the only one that's left.
It's left, and it's a museum.
Wow.
And so I make contributions to the museum.
Oh, that's cool.
And they take the ship, they keep in good repair.
That's good.
And so they put out a newsletter, and the newsletter comes out quarterly. And so one time I saw the picture of this fellow it covered who was visiting the ship, and it was the guy I was on the board ship with. So I found out where he was living, and I called him.
Oh, that's cool.
And he had just turned 100. And so
what are the odds?
But then he was going out for dinner, so we didn't ask were going to get back to me. And then the next quarterly, we got the newsletter, and it was a memorial to him. He had just passed away.
Wow.
So, but then I just recently, I got the newsletter, and tucked inside was another one, somebody else's, and it was for somebody in Capel. So I thought, well, I'll call.
Wow, that's cool.
And see who it was. So they had the name on it, and Vern Christensen. So I tried to get the phone number. Couldn't get a phone number. You can't call 911. I can't call the telephone company anymore. Get a phone number. So I wrote a little note to the person and sent the newsletter along with it. And I got a call, but it was from the daughter. And evidently the father had passed away a few years ago, but he had been aboard a destroyer escort.
Wow.
And in the Pacific also. And then the mother had followed and continued to contribute to the club, to the museum. And she passed away a year or so ago.
Wow.
So I talked to the daughter.
That's cool.
And so it was interesting. So
that's amazing.
So you keep trying to contact.
Yeah.
I wear a World War II hat.
Oh, really?
Because I like to go around and you might find other people.
Yeah.
And you do. You get people come up and say, oh, my father was in there, my grandfather. And every once in a while you get somebody that might be still in the service, yeah.
Wow. And it's amazing because there's not that many World War II vets around.
Yeah, there are not too many left, I guess.
Wow.
So
that is so cool. That is so cool. What about any advice, just to kind of, you 102 years old, you just celebrated last year, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I don't count it.
Yeah. No more birthday cakes anymore.
No, I said,
102 birthday cakes.
Yeah. So you just, you're just happy that you're able to get up in the morning and do whatever you can do, and you don't think of yourself as old. You just think, well, you do what you like to do, and as long as you can do it.
Right.
So
right. What is like your normal? What is like a day in the life look like for you? Like if you were to say like in a normal routine.
Yeah. Well, usually, like yesterday, I used to get up about 6:30 or so, and the first thing I do is stretch. I lie on the floor and stretch for about 20 minutes, and then get dressed and get ready to go out. So I go over. I usually go over about 7:30 to the fitness center, and it's just right up the street. So I'm there by a little after 7:30, and then I work out with the rowing machine. I like to do the rowing machine and some of the weights, and I finish on the bicycle upstairs, and I talk to people.
Yeah.
And then you get back, and I get two papers. I get the Dallas paper, and I get USA Today. I get USA Today because I get my pension
Oh yeah.
from Gannett,
Nice.
which publishes USA Today.
That's cool.
So, so I get the paper, and I sit there and I have my breakfast. I usually have cereal, juice, and cereal, and maybe half an English muffin with
Nice.
peanut butter and a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And I read the papers, and then I try to do the puzzles.
Oh, nice.
I do the New York Times. Usually I can do a New York Times puzzle Monday and sometimes Tuesday.
Yeah.
But they get harder each week,
Oh,
each
wow.
day. And then the USA also, I try to do the USA puzzle.
Nice.
And then so I'm there until 11:30 or whatever, and I'll maybe do a little bit more stretching, and then shower and get dressed, and I'll see what's on my computer.
Yeah.
And yesterday I had luncheon with the young lady that's from over here, and we went to Madeline and had.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, Madeline's good.
So
What'd you have to eat there?
well, I usually just have a cup of soup and
Yeah.
half a sandwich or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And we used to, when my wife was living, we used to go to the fitness center. She'd go with me 3 days, and we'd have breakfast at some place. We went to the Bo Peeps
Oh yeah.
up here a little,
yeah.
right up here. One day we go to IHOP,
Yeah.
but Madeline was Saturday. We always went to
Oh, Madeline, yeah.
on Saturday morning, the one over in Preston Road.
Wow.
So there's a young lady there that's been there from the time we started to go.
Oh, wow.
I saw her yesterday, and she's been there 21 years.
Wow.
So I always talk to her, and so it's always nice to see friends over there.
Yeah.
But you talk to people, and like this is a woman that has the grandchildren are all athletes, and so then one of the other women here doesn't have a car,
Oh, okay.
and so she had to go to the bank yesterday. So she called me and wanted to know if I could take her, so I took her to the bank, and then we'll go shopping maybe once a week somewhere.
Nice.
Like to go to Tom Thumb,
Yeah. Yeah.
and sometimes to go to Walmart or Costco. And
Costco. Yeah, Costco's good.
I like Costco.
Yeah.
And so I'll take her shopping or take her to wherever she has to go. And then I'll go down, check the mail, and see if anybody's there. If the weather's nice, you can sit by the pool.
Oh yeah,
Take
downstairs.
a book, and like I had to go to the library. I go to the library over here and pick up. I like to get the large print books,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and so I picked up one yesterday, and then when everybody's, when I get the mail, and by 5:30, if there's nobody around, and I'll come up, and I've recorded shows.
Oh really?
I record. I like Pardon the Interruption.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Pardon the interruption.
At 4:30, I record that.
That's a good one.
And then I record the 5:30 news,
Okay. Nice. Yeah.
NBC, and then I'll record the public television
Yeah.
of 6 to 7. I
Yeah.
record
6 to
that,
7. Yeah.
and then I have Turner Classic Movies,
Oh nice.
and if there's a movie I like to see,
Yeah.
and I record movies, so I have
Yeah.
a list
Well,
of
yeah,
movies that I record. And my son sent me some DVDs, and I don't know, did you ever see? Probably not, but there was a World War II or military person, Sergeant Bilko. Did you ever hear of Sergeant Bilko? Well,
It's a good one?
He was a sergeant, Phil Silvers, who was a comedian.
Oh.
And Phil Silvers was a sergeant in the Army, and he had a motor pool. And these characters, and I'm telling you, it is the
It's good?
funniest show.
Oh wow.
So my son gave me the discs, so I have like 39 episodes.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I watched one of those last night. They are the funniest thing. I just burst right out laughing. So I have those, and then my others sent me a whole series from an Irish disc and about a town in Ireland and all the things going on there. And then I have a couple of others. I have a favorite movie that it's an Italian movie called Bread and Tulips, and it's really funny.
Nice.
And there's some other movies, but then I see if there's a movie on, if there is, and then about 9:30, I go in and see what's on Facebook. I don't put anything on, but I see what's there and
cool.
see what's going on, and then I'll maybe read for a while. And by 11:15, I'm ready for bed.
That is it.
Yeah, so,
Wow.
I have a glass of wine.
Nice.
You have to have a glass of wine.
Red wine, right?
Yeah.
Red wine?
Red wine.
All
yeah.
right, yeah. That's cool.
So I do one glass of red wine in the evening and while I'm watching my shows on
That's
TV.
beautiful.
So,
Wow. Man, I feel like your schedule is like packed.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
But it keeps you like busy.
Yeah, well, this morning I did the treadmill for about a half hour
Okay,
on the treadmill and came up and had breakfast and I've been reading this.
Oh, that's not fun. Let's take a little picture. Wow. Man. Wow, look at this. Mr. Bob showing us the little, look at that. That's pretty cool. Oh, is that your wife?
That's my wife.
Oh, man. What was your wife's name?
Ruth.
Ruth, that's a good name.
I'll show you a picture when we first
Yeah,
met.
let's see. Look at that.
This this was up in Scotland. One of our anniversaries.
Oh man, look at that. That's beautiful. You guys look at that family.